Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Sheldon, and this is another episode of Behind the Enthusiast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at two options for when you guys are looking at buying motorcycles. Those two options are obviously new and used, and well, I know a lot of you are probably screaming right now, new, or used, and you guys need to slow down just a bit because I have 5 reasons for each as to why one is better than the other. So let's get into it. So first things first, guys, new versus used is not an easy debate. I know a lot of people are going to have more than 5 reasons as to why they would want to buy a new motorcycle versus a used motorcycle. However, what I'm going to be doing today is comparing based on Harley-Davidsons, because I actually work at a dealership. It's going to be a lot easier for me to compare those prices, approximately anyway, because I don't really know all the prices offhand. But what I've seen recently, so in other words, this year, the surcharges, that sort of thing, taking all those things into consideration, it does make it a little bit easier to make a decision. However, it's not really a clear-cut winner, if you ask me. But we're going to start off with new motorcycles. And obviously, when you go into a dealership and you buy a new motorcycle, the first thing that you guys can get is a warranty. Not to say that you couldn't purchase a warranty or get some sort of extended warranty or whatever on a used motorcycle. However, generally, you get a warranty for free, right? You buy a new product, doesn't even have to be a motorcycle. Generally, there is a warranty with it, right? It's included in the price, so you don't have to worry about really paying extra for it, right, if you buy a used one. So that's a really great benefit, having that peace of mind that if anything goes wrong on the bike within, the first year or 2 years, or even 5 if you get an extended warranty, obviously any of that stuff is going to be covered, which is really great. Now, number 2 on that list is latest technology. Obviously, if you guys buy a much older motorcycle, 10 or 15 years old, the technology is not going to be the same. Obviously, you're going to have different things like touchscreen or audio or whatever, Bluetooth, that sort of thing. You might not even have a radio, depending on how old the bike is. So, latest technology, I know some people might see that as a bad thing because there's more things to go wrong essentially on a bike. However, it makes your life so much easier. You might have built-in GPS on the motorcycle now. So instead of you finding a GPS mount, it's already there on the bike. You don't have to worry about it, especially for the touring models. So, having a Harley-Davidson is really, really nice. Obviously, if you're comparing a Sportster to a touring bike, they're completely different. But in terms of a touring bike, the latest technology is way better, especially when you take into consideration safety features like RDRS or something like that, ABS even, for instance. So taking that into consideration, it's actually a really positive thing to have on the bike. And so to me, it's actually a really good reason to buy new. Now, number 3 on the list is more options. I don't necessarily mean latest technology, however, that could be included in this. But what I mean is new options, more options, paint colors, finish of the motorcycle, instead of just being told, hey, you get a blonde motor or you get a chrome exhaust. Now, there are a lot of options, and you can actually get all of these customizations done at the, at the purchase point. And you don't even have to, wait for down the road. You can actually get it included in your warranty as well. So you do get a lot of more options in that regard as well. Something like heated grips or heated seat. Back in the day, they probably didn't have a lot of those options, and now it's almost standard. So for instance, the Sportster S, even though it doesn't have heated grips on it, it is already pre-wired for them. So it makes things a lot easier to actually add options to the bike. Number 4 on the list is less repairs. I mean, I wouldn't say no repairs because obviously there could potentially be something wrong with the bike. However, during the break-in period, you do that, you take it easy, you scrub the tires in, all this stuff. You don't have to worry about your tires being old or cracked or weathered, that sort of thing, right? Because they're brand new. All you have to do is scrub them in for that first, 500 kilometers or whatever it is. Check the manual, obviously. Scrub the tires in. Obviously the belt is going to be brand new, the engine's going to be brand new, lights are going to be brand new. You don't really have to worry about, your turn signals burning out on you, that sort of thing. So that is a huge pro towards new motorcycles. You really don't have to worry about maintenance. You don't have to worry about asking someone, where's the receipts of all those jobs you had done on the motorcycle? You don't have to worry about all that BS. You don't have to worry about it at all. It's a brand new motorcycle, so it makes things really, really easy. And number 5 on the list is financing. I know you guys are probably going to say, well, I can finance a used motorcycle if I wanted to. True, provided you're buying it from a dealership. However, used motorcycles, if you guys are going on Kijiji and you're buying it from another person, a private sale, you can't get financing, and that is the main difference. So when I say new, I mean dealership, and used, I'm leaning more towards the private sector of, going to someone's house, looking at it, and, bartering and figuring out a price, right? You want to get it for a little bit cheaper, but they don't want to budge on it, right? So that's what I'm actually referring to when I say that you have the benefit of financing a new motorcycle. And the other benefit there is that anything you guys add to the motorcycle, you can actually work it into your finance. So that's also a really nice bonus. Now, switching over to used motorcycles, well, obviously a lot of these are going to be the exact opposites. Starting with the first reason, which is a lower price. So instead of you guys going into a dealership and paying a surcharge, which is new for this year, anywhere from $400 or $500, I think, for the Sportsters, all the way up to $1,000 or $1,200 for some of the larger touring models like trikes. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about registration fees, admin fees, all that stuff that the dealerships add on extra. You don't have to worry about paying for a PDI. You might have to worry about paying for a safety, perhaps, putting new brake pads on it or something, which is only like $75 depending on, your brake caliper setup. But, that's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things when you look at all these extra fees that you have to pay for. You cannot avoid them with a new motorcycle. You have to pay for these things. With a used motorcycle, you don't have to worry about that. You go there, you say, all right, you know what, $10,000, that's all you want? Okay, cool. You sign your paperwork, you put it on a trailer, you take it home, you have all that stuff switched over, the MTO or whatever, and you pay the taxes on it, and you're done. Right? It's really straightforward, really simple. Whereas a dealership, yeah, it is a little bit easier because they do all the paperwork for you. However, it's going to be a lot more money. And sometimes you don't notice that because it's all worked into your financing, and that really small number that you're paying, bi-weekly or whatever, it doesn't seem as bad, but the grand total, well, that's the thing you gotta keep an eye on. Now, number 2 reason to buy a used motorcycle is that it's already broken in. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, whoa, what's wrong with breaking in a motorcycle? Well, there isn't really a problem with it. I've had to do it already on my Yamaha, and it was not very fun because you have to baby the motorcycle, and if you don't read the manual or you're paranoid that you're going to screw it up or something, some people would rather someone else do that, and they'll just buy a bike that has been lightly used, has been broken in, it only has about, say, 3,000 or 5,000 kilometers on it, and it's a year or two old. some people prefer to buy those bikes because not only are you saving on the price, the bike is broken in, so if there were any issues with the motorcycle, they should have already been worked out, right? You should already know whether or not the motorcycle is a lemon. Now, number 3 on the list is add-ons, performance parts, that sort of thing. So if someone has paid for the labor, to do a stage 1 kit, exhaust, tuner, air cleaner, maybe a LED headlight or whatever, someone paid for all of that stuff to be put onto the motorcycle. However, here's the thing. You don't really get that money back, especially if you go to a dealership and you say, oh, but I have all these extras and I put, $3,000 worth of chrome on the bike. The dealership doesn't care. And me personally, buying that privately, I don't care either. Because that's what you wanted to do to the motorcycle. That's great. That's what you wanted to do to it. I'm not going to pay you for what you did to your motorcycle. That was your personal preference, and that's how the used market goes. So you're not going to pay that person, you're not going to compensate them for the labor that they, paid for and all that stuff. So when you get a motorcycle that is, fully loaded because someone's actually spent all that money on it, you are getting such a great deal that it is a really good reason to buy a used motorcycle. Now, number 4, I know this is going to be very similar to it. However, more modifications. Now, I know a lot of people may not understand what I mean. And what I mean is that because the bike has already been out for, let's say 2 years or 5 years or maybe even 10 years, depending on how old you're going for this used motorcycle, the aftermarket support that you will have for it, or even OEM support, is going to be a lot better than something that literally just came out and it's sitting on the showroom floor and it is a brand new model. You're not going to be able to get, slip-ons for it right away, right? Because aftermarket companies need to put all that stuff into their R&D. They have to design something and figure out what works. They have to buy the motorcycle and test it and tune it and say, okay, this product works. So it takes, sometimes a couple of years, maybe even longer, for companies to come up with new products. And so your options to actually modify the bike outside of Harley-Davidson, obviously the P&A catalog is amazing. There's a lot of options in it. However, for those of you who really like aftermarket options, you may end up having to wait a little bit. And with used, you don't, because the bike has already been out for a couple years or whatever. So new, you have to wait. Used, you don't. And like I said, with the other option, someone might have already put all those goodies on the bike, so you don't even really have to worry about it. But if they didn't, and you want to finish the bike off, well, you can easily go online, you can shop on, Parts Canada, any of their vendors, and you can just go to town and recreate the bike if you really wanted to. Now, number 5, final reason to consider buying a used motorcycle is the abundance of them. If you go on to Kijiji, for example, and you search for an 883 Sportster and you're looking for, let's say, something a little bit older, you're probably going to find a lot of them. Obviously, if a lot of people are out looking for them, you may have some competition. However, at the moment, because new motorcycles are so hard to come by, they're very scarce, there's a lot of delays at the factory getting them released and built, ABS modules, key fobs and other components that are just on back order. You don't really want to deal with that, right? Obviously, if you can get your hands on a new motorcycle, that's great. But if you can't, the used market, there's so many options, and the pricing is very competitive as well, because you get the option because you are the buyer. You can shop around, you can take your time, you're the one with the money, they're the one with the motorcycle. The motorcycle can sit there, right? You guys don't actually have to go out and buy it right away. Mind you, in this day and age, you probably shouldn't wait too long, but you guys, it is a buyer's market. And so regardless of whether or not you guys are choosing to buy new or used, at the end of the day, both have their benefits. And to be completely honest, I can't tell you to choose one or the other definitively. It's really going to come down to what you guys want. Obviously, if you want new technology and everything, go for the new one. utilize the financing and the warranty, all those benefits, get the new one. If you guys don't care about that, you want to save money, and you want something that maybe already has some modifications on it because you're going to save money in the long run because it's stuff that you would have already wanted to do to the bike anyway, well, you save a lot of money there as well. And if it's lightly broken in, you don't really have too many concerns unless of course you start looking at a very, very old motorcycle. So those are my 5 reasons for each. Basically, it's just for discussion purposes for you guys to kind of figure things out on your own. But if you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button so I know that it's working. Leave any comments you guys have down below. Did I miss anything? Do you guys think there's other pros or cons to new or used that I might have missed? Leave those down below. And as usual, be sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on future content on the channel. And I will catch you guys in the next one.